Tradition helps us understand the present. It is a wisdom that uncovers our basic nature. Master sculptor and painter Ben Enwonwu returns to the rituals of his youth and visualizes their hidden spirituality. In the process, he discovers his own essence.
Well, my art began when my father was carving in the shrine at Onitsha in the village. And he did lots of images, traditional images, which were then regarded as, you call them gods. And the effects it had on me was one of fear, because I used to be afraid of them. But when my father died, before I grew into boyhood, I began to look at things and to try to make my own images. I began to draw on the sand. After each rain, it more or less was a slate, a clean slate. Then I drew with a broomstick. Broomstick was my first pencil, and the sand was my paper. I went to my home at Onitsha, and because we have ceremonies, traditional ceremonies, funeral ceremonies, I just began to use some of the traditional dances.
In Nigeria, masquerades are village ceremonies that make use of dance, costume, and music to invoke spirits, the honorable dead. The masquerade acts out religious beliefs. Over all hovers the supernatural.
A dance movement must have a mask associated with it. But the mask itself was not the whole thing. In fact, the dancer and the movement he made were the whole thing. The mask was only a feature signifying his personality, or the personality of the goddess or god or goddess that he represented. I now consider it a very important period in my work. It's taking me back to my roots with my father.
One of the things I remember he said to people who doesn't appreciate art was, if you haven't heard of Ben, then you haven't been to school.
You can never bring up a discussion about visual art and never mention the name Ben Enwonwu.
He lived for art, he dreamt art, he loved nature. My husband found beauty in things that don't count importance. I am Caroline. My native name is Obiageli. I'm married to Professor Ben Enwonwu, and we have 4 children, and one of them is Oliver.
I'm Oliver Enwonwu, and I'm Executive Director of the Ben Enwonwu Foundation. I would say that no other Nigerian artist before him has been entrenched in our national consciousness.
The Ben Enwonwu Foundation was established in the year 2003 to preserve the Ben Enwonwu's legacy. Ben Enwonwu is the most influential artistic figure of the 20th century and has been hailed since the 1950s as Africa's greatest artist. In 1957, he was commissioned to sculpt the bronze portrait of a ruling monarch Queen Elizabeth II, and the sitting began at Buckingham Palace. Also, he was the first federal art advisor to the government. Other famous works of his include Enwonwu, or The Awakening, which today stands at the United Nations headquarters. So what made Enwonwu's art an object of interest? It's often mentioned that his visual language fused Western techniques and indigenous traditions together to create what is now known as African modernist art. He interpreted modern aesthetics while paying allegiance to his culture. One important symbol that recurs in his work is womanhood.
He feels women are beautiful.
And for him, the woman is a symbol of nationhood. The foundation is established in honor of Enwonwu, and as much as possible, we try to project his values, and that's why the foundation deems it fit to preserve his legacy for generations yet unborn, to imitate, to copy, to emulate, and to continue his path.
One of the ways the foundation hopes to achieve this is through continuing artists' professional development and empowerment. And the foundation counts this necessary because a lot of Nigerian artists never know much beyond the rudiments of arts.
Because a lot of Nigerian artists, when they go through school, they're only taught the rudiments of art. How to paint, perspective, anatomy. They're not taught how to sustain themselves outside the four walls of the school. How is it in the business world, for instance?
The Enwonwu Foundation has taken it upon itself to ensure that it is able to empower artists when it comes to business. The foundation is located in the artist's home, which lends to its cultural and historical significance. Within the premises, there's the Omenka Gallery. Omenka Gallery is a leading gallery in Lagos, and indeed Nigeria, and it represents a diverse number of artists working in different media.
Some of our artists we have showcased on the international scene, where we've participated in major art fairs all over the world on about 5 continents. We also have an active publications program where we produce critical text to accompany their work as a way of exposing them to new and international audiences while encouraging research into their work. A lot of people think art is purely decorative, but I say no, and the foundation says no. One of the things the foundation is trying to do is to ensure we change our perception through programs like our Distinguished Lecture Series, where we have people from all walks of life come to speak about the changing role of art in society.
They have also had scholarship schemes for students of Ahmadu Bello University, Yaba College of Technology, and of course, University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University.
For instance, one of the major topics today, on the contemporary art scene is artists' resale rights. While musicians and authors benefit from secondary sales of their works and their royalties, Nigerian visual artists do not. And that's why there's so much global attention right now on African art. And I think that's a major subject that the Enwonwu Foundation and of course the French Cultural Center, Alliance Française, they're looking into to see how we can change enabling laws in order to ensure that artists benefit from copyright sales, but with enabling structures in place, to ensure that even funds and grants, are used to support Nigerian artists. I think that things will grow, and the sector will be sustained.